Hello my lovely spectators, Dee Dee here and welcome to my studio. So I'm trying to get the camera just right so I can delve into today's Make It Monday. So I have this obsession with these Crunch and Munches. And so I have been collecting and collecting and creating bases for covers. Kind of like in the style of Gail Agostinelli with her envelopes, except that mine are still raw. So I'm just going to show you my process right now, which is how I cut them. So I use the actual fold of the tops, and that gives me the straight line. I can get them done quick. I don't have to line them up with the mat at all. And I do keep the longer pieces. They are going in my stash, of course, right? We're talking about hoarding. Going in my stash to use as edge pieces. I can decorate them, etc., etc., etc. So that may be a video in another time. I just showed you that inside the overlap, I'm cutting off, opening up and cutting off that extra spine. And you'll notice I throw out the little one, but I'm keeping the bigger one because it matches perfectly on the other side. And we will be using that later on in the video. So I keep those different elements. So the two long tops, the two long bottoms, and then the one side that matches the opposite spine. So I have about 4 of these to deconstruct. And so it doesn't take that long. I've decided to speed up the video. I think it's double time. And so I think I'm learning whether or not to speed things up, and I'm trying this voiceover thing again. It was rough the first time, and I'm gonna see if I can kind of not have to stop, you know, and be like, oh my god, I goofed up or something. So I turned off my screensaver so that I can actually watch the video and not blip out on me. So yeah, you guys let me know what do you think about this. So I'm trying to come up with ideas to make like patterns for the you know, the year, and like have, you know, each day of the week be a certain goal. So, you know, yesterday's with the Sunday shop your stash, you know, stop that hoarding, crack out a supply that has been sitting there that I haven't used in a minute. And so that would be, you know, something that might be ongoing a few times, a few Sundays in a row. Today I'm thinking, you know, make it Monday, get something prepped, get something done, get something completed, get something started. I don't know, something along those lines, but it doesn't have to necessarily be any one specific thing, but it is going to be making an actual item. Okay, so now let me get back to what you're seeing here, which is I reinforced the spine. So these boxes are very similar to like cereal boxes, like we all have, you know, been using cereal boxes in the past. We all share that idea with each other, and so I know that I'm gonna need to probably sew into them, and I just want to give it a little more strength because I'm gonna cover the entire thing. So I'm just using dollar store duct tape, nothing special. It's actually pretty thin, which is good. It's not as super gluey as, like, I guess normal duct tape would be, so I'm not worried about the needle going through it. And in general, when I do my stitching and such like that, I tend to, you know, dig the awl in there deep and make sure that the hole is kind of on the big side. And then it usually kind of like a little bit relaxes after the fact. I rather do that than have to struggle with the needle. But you're gonna see a struggle later on because I don't know if it was this one. I using this. I think I'm all cutesy without the ruler because the paper is thick enough. Oh yeah, it is this one. You see the little piece? I cut into it. I'm like, oh. Then I tried to turn it over and justify myself that no, that wasn't anything that's bad. There's a little curve, but it's okay because, you know, none of these cuts are gonna be exactly perfectly, you know, 90 degrees, etc. There is margin of error even in constructed things when we get our paper pads from like the different sources. Are they always 12 by 12? There's always a little something going on. So I'm just, you know, going to roll with it, and as it gets covered, those little minor things won't get noticed at all. So I think I'm at almost my last one. And another thing that I'll comment here is that I'm sure that people are saying, why doesn't she fold it over? I don't know why. I felt like I wanted to keep the edge open because I don't know how I'm covering this. And I know that I have these funky colors, the red, the silver. I have red, silver, blue, purple, blah, blah, blah. You'll see a few later. And I just don't know if it's going to be visible. I mean, I'm going to make every attempt to definitely cover it. But putting it over is adding additional bulk that I may not want. And so I kind of decided against that. I mean, I can always add an extra piece later. So that said, I decided to just cut them off like this and make everything nice and smooth and the same size from journal to journal. I'm just folding it up, and now I'm gonna look and see how many I actually have. So right now is when you would want to take a guess about how many Crunch and Munch covers do you think I have to make journals from. So yeah, so here I'm gonna start counting them. And I was a little surprised because I also have other cereal boxes. I know you saw that Reese's Peep out there. This is one that I did both sides, and I felt like it was a little too thick, the silver, which is why I stopped doing that. I did it in the beginning, and the black one in the beginning, but it felt like it was a little too thick there. So that's why I'm sticking to just one side. So yeah, so we are getting there. I have 22 uncovered journals, and now I'm showing you that I have already covered 3, so I have 25 Crunch and Munch journal covers. I just flicked at it because it does add rigidity automatically when you add things to it. So this one that's here, the floral, that is wallpaper, and then I just put a funky kind of blues and greens on the inside. This one with the map is from a map. No, actually it's from a book, but it's map page. And the other one is actually the cover of a book about stamps. So I've just been covering them with different things. So my idea is, a floral, botanical one. A map one would be for like postal or travel, or something like that. But then I did the stamp one, so I thought maybe that would be postal and correspondence, people, writing to each other and having the connection. So thinking about the themes, I think that's why there's 20 of these things sitting there. But yeah, so do you guys think of the theme first, and then do you guys start with the cover, or always start with the signature? I don't know. I haven't really decided. Okay, so since that was where I was at, and I said this is not enough of a video, you'll notice that I moved everything to the side and I kept one of these spine pieces. So the next part of this is going to be showing you why, because these are perfect to create templates for the type of binding that I want to do. So I've been trying my hand at, of course, the 3 whole pamphlet stitch. I've also done the Midori style, which is Traveler's Notebook, which is either string bind or elastic through the spine. And as I was doing these little templates, I was thinking about, just like how the string, where is it going to go? How's it going to look? I wasn't going to get all crazy on these. I just wanted to create all the holes so that I have it to transfer to the actual spine when I'm going to do it in whichever, style I decide to do. Since they match exactly, I'm going to set these up. So I have, this was an idea that I thought was going to work, but it was hard for me to hold this 2 inches down flat and get it straight. So you're going to see me struggle a little bit here and there, but it's about 2 inches wide. So I'm trying to score where that, straight up and down line would be for the signature. And this was a little off, and I was like, oh my goodness, what, so I just looked at it and I said, okay, well, this is definitely 1 inch. And I'm just darkening it up. And now to make the lines that go across and have them evenly spaced without having to do any kind of real measurement, you've seen this before. You can just fold it up, fold it in half for the center, and then fold each of the halves in half, and you get 3 intersections with the center line. So I did that, and now I'm trying to make one to have 2 stitches, not 2 stitches, two signatures. Ooh. 2 signatures that I can 3-hole pamphlet stitch, and then I also want to have one that's 3 signatures. So I'm going to show them up close. I know it's all sped up. I try to slow down here and there where I could, but I'm still trying to figure out how many should be in a spine this wide. So the spine is 2 inches basically. So I was able to line up 1 signature in the center, 2 signatures, and also a 3 signature setup. But all of them are staying within 1. And I don't mind a gator mouth. So if you've seen any of my other videos or reels and stuff like that, are the ones that I've created in the past. Since Christmas, I've created Christmas journal, a fashion style journal, and the white journal. And they all have kind of gator right off the bat when I set it up and start filling it up. And some of them are not even filled up completely out of the 3, and they still have like a slight gator. I don't mind that. But in this case, if I'm gonna, hone my craft and decide to put journals up on, my Ko-fi or on my Etsy, then I need to come up with a plan. So I'm thinking, using Natasha's formula, and just kind of like limiting the number of pages. Like I put every kind of page I have, my hands can fit on, coffee dyed, ink dyed, tea dyed. Then I have, book pages and music pages, and I'm putting every single thing. And from hearing what she said, Natasha from Treasure Books, you want to kind of give the person who you're going to sell it, if that's what you're doing, a place to write. Because it is a journal. Now, am I using the ones that I'm keeping to write in? No. Mine are works of art, accomplishments, so to say. So basically, I need to kind of figure out what's that perfect kind of like amount so that I could have a good amount of things, variety, and provide the person with space to decorate and not create a gigantic gator mouth. Okay, so these are the pamphlets for the 3. I was trying to follow the crease, and I thought I could freehand it, but no. So I had to go back and actually get the ruler out. So now I've got the 3, and I have the 2 on the left hand side, and the 1 is off to the side, bent towards my glasses. There we go. So this is the 1. So straight down the middle. I'm thinking 25 pages or so to provide 25 sheets of paper would be 50 pages, and 100 sides. That might be a lot. I don't know. And when I talk about pages, I mean I would count a doily being in there. A folded envelope as one of the items. Oh, back to the video. I'm rambling. This is a 5 or 6 hole punch that I got from, I guess, Temu. And I'm using this for the Midori. So the Midori has an elastic binding usually. It's like those travel notebooks that you could slip in the signatures and slip out the signatures. And you can move pages around. I think for a beginner junk journaler, this is awesome because you can take out just an individual page, work on the page, and then put it back. I've seen it being done by Margaret from Seven Plaza. It's the first time I saw it, and I said, you know what, this might be my go-to situation. So you need holes in the top. I just centered up the full-on one of the extras, and now I'm doing a 3 setup and a 2 setup. So it went all the way to the end. I would never put those those punches all the way to the end like that. So I'm setting up the 3, and I've already transferred over 2 on this one that I'm punching right now. And then I'm going to fold it, get the 2 that match up on the bottom, just like that, punch them out. And then I'm going to make some notes for myself, okay? Which are mainly that once you've put your, holes down and you've marked where your elastic is going to go through your cover, you're going to want to put eyelets in first. You don't have to. You could do raw and just put the elastic if it was a little bit thicker and you weren't going to see that hole. But I think that there's a potential for a little bit of rubbing, because as it stretches, it will have a little bit of movement through that hole. Minuscule, but over time it might degrade. So I'm always putting eyelets in. The first one I didn't, and that's why I know from experience. So here are my templates. I've got a 2-hole Midori, a 3-hole Midori, and then pamphlet stitches for 1, 2, and 3 signatures. Now I'm thinking, is this enough? What else can I do? And so I decide to actually show you how to do each of these things. So I get out some of this nice hard cardstock. It's not cardstock, actually. It's like mixed media paper, but it's like 184 pounds. It's from Strathmore, and it's super dense. So, and I'm over here just cutting this out. I'm trying to match it because remember, I'm going to use these as templates to see how they look. I can hold them up to the journal and see what is it that I want it to look like? What is the style? What do I think is going to go with it? So I'm cutting them down to the appropriate length, which is about, these Crunch and Munch boxes are about 8 3/4. So great for legal size paper. You got the 8.5. You can, just snip off like a 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch, and it will fit in to the Midori. And you probably can go the full on with the pamphlet stitch. You won't have to cut anything off. So I made a bunch because the page is like 12 inches, so I have like 6 of them. I'm only going to need a few, so we're going to go through each of the process one by one, and let's see. Oh no, my video froze. Let me pause because I can't tell you what we're doing if I can't see. Okay, I don't know what is going on with my software. I apologize. So what you can see there is all the stuff I took out that I didn't know I had taken out. But my crocodile, I took out some thin yarn that I just picked up in the dollar store. It looked like baker's twine, just a little thicker. I couldn't find anything. I didn't want to use elastic just to have a sample. It's just more like how to do it, so I just left it like that. And I'm writing down what each of the templates are going to be used for. And here is where I don't know how to spell the word pamphlet. And so I write the word stitch, but then it looks like something else, so I have to erase it. And yeah, but hey, I teach math, okay? I don't teach English. So we're going to do the 3-hole stitch. So I take this and I decide that I was gonna, need to make those holes so that I could be able to mark through onto wherever I was going to be using the 3-hole stitch. So just, the small crocodile hole, not the real big one, getting it at the intersection, giving space for your pen to actually, your pencil to actually get through and apply a little mark so that you know where to, use your awl and, poke a hole through to get the process going. So I'm putting it onto this blue card that I cut out, and I'm just marking it with a pencil, and we are good to go. So I'm making them a little darker because again, the camera is like right in front of my head, so sometimes if I have to kind of know what I'm doing, I can't see past the camera. But anyway, here's going to be some fun. So it looks like baker's twine. It's really cute. And I'm like, hey, you know what? I can get it through. But guess what? My needle threader doesn't fit in this damn eye from this needle. So I need a bigger needle eye. It works for the kit that I have because I have the wax thread. So I decided to get this other one that's thinner and great. It does go through. But then watch what happens. Because again, I think that this is going to be the magic answer. And so I'm messing with the end. I'm twisting it to try to get a point. And I get it into the threader eventually. And as I try to pull it through, the little metal thing just completely falls off. So yeah, that was a big fail. But anyway, I'm like so not trying to give up. And I don't know why I didn't cut the tip of this off sooner, because it's all fluffed out and messed up. Here I'm looking in the kit to see if there's another needle head in there. So I know that I have needles of various sizes someplace else, but this has been the current kit that I've been having on my side for my recent journals, and it only had that one needle with the eye size that was there, which is not working for this thread. But being the stubborn Taurus that I am, I'm gonna keep trying. I'm gonna make it happen. Watch, just watch, or else this video would have been over by now. So I gotta put these things away, but I'm bringing it closer, and I'm trying to. Yes, I am putting that piece of thread in my mouth to, get it more pointy, and it's not working. And I'm trying, and I'm trying, and I'm trying. So you tell me, guys. I see people trying to thread the needle, and they're holding the needle and they're putting the thread towards it and trying to get the thread. Someone had taught me this a long time ago, and then I heard it recently again about hold the thread and then use the needle. The needle's more stable in order to get the thread on. So this has always kind of been how I've done it. I guess my mother must have taught it to me very early on, and it's just my way. Finally, anyway. So let's get back to what's going on. I'm pulling this thread through. It is significantly thicker than this eye of this needle, and it's making it kind of unravel. Again, I'm not too concerned because this is an example. We're going to toss that. For a moment, I thought about keeping it. Clean up the space, and we're going to go through the 3-hole pamphlet stitch. Now, most of you might know how to do this, and so you have to remember that. One of the sides is going to be the inside of the signature, going through to the outside of the cover. So on this template, I can turn it back and forth, and I hope this doesn't confuse a lot of anybody who hasn't seen this before. But I just made it to have about 3 lengths of the book, the height. So we go through the middle. You don't want them to be even. I'm gonna have to adjust that, but you want to have a piece in the middle. Let's say this is the middle hanging out, and you can hold it there in the book, and then you go to the back or the outside cover, and you're gonna go through the holes. So where did I go? Oh, I got a pokey tool because I forgot to poke, and I can't see the other side where the hole is because it's only written on one side. You would have poked the holes through your signatures, through the matching up of the cover. So that was a missing part of this process. But once the holes are all poked through everything, the signatures and the spine, then you go through the middle, up, back in to the signature, down, skipping the middle, all right, and then back out to the spine. So you see that's what the spine would look like. And then you want to go back into the center to finish off that look on the outside. And then on the inside, you're going to make sure that the 2 strings are on opposite sides of that center string. You're going to be able to take your needle off, and you're going to now make the knots that you need. So don't need that on there. So, I mean, look, it's unraveling the thing, but it doesn't matter. So now with the string, you can tie it off, really, make a bow. A lot of times you will leave all this extra length so that it would have the possibility to add dangles. So that's really up to what your style is and what your preference is. I'm just shifting around, and you can do this even if you have it in a book, on a signature, in a cover, in a whole 9. You can adjust it to make them the same length. So making it, I tie 1 knot, and then I'm going to tie another knot. And that's the regular, somebody was talking about left over right, right over left. And now I'm curious, but did I make note of it? No. And then I wanted to try this S one where you lay it above and then you go underneath and through. So it's kind of hard with my chunky hands to see that. I think it's called a square knot. So it kind of would be a little flatter. But I already had the double knot, so my thing is going to be a little chunky. But anyway, it's another alternative to lay flat on inside the book. So I probably wouldn't have done both at the same time. So now you have this dangling part. You can cut it short. You can leave it to dangle on the on the inside, on the bottom. And if you wanted the dangle on the outside, you would just start from the outside, right? And leave all the extra long pieces on the outside, and then do the same situation. And outside the dangles would be attached in the center. Again, you know what? Get a piece of cardstock and, practice like that. You don't have to practice on a signature. It doesn't have to be super duper waxed string or anything like that. So I'm gonna do one of the Midori. I'm gonna do two because unlike the pamphlet stitch, the Midori, you can potentially see the elastic on the outside. I personally am doing it so that you see the very minimal of the elastic on the outside. So the spine is going to be pretty much clear. You could put a book plate, you could leave it blank, etc. I was also thinking about it after this video that the Midori, you could actually have the elastic on the outside and set it up so that it's almost a decorative element as well. Because on the pamphlet, you could add beads before you go back into the hole and all that good stuff. So if you want to see a video with just like how to do that on one of these templates, let me know. Okay, so I'm looking at this and, it's a little off. Got to be a little more careful. And I'm just having a reminder to put eyelets. I'm not putting eyelets in the template on the example because that's a lot of wasted supply. So and I'm not going to be doing a lot of in and out with any kind of signatures. So I'm labeling it. This is the 3-hole, and then I'm going to be making one for the 2 because they're slightly different. And then the elastic or string, because you could also do it with string, that doesn't have any give. That's also another option. It doesn't have to be elastic. Elastic just lets you have a little more give on taking stuff in and out. But the string, you could slip on in and out. You don't, it's the same difference. Okay, so we're going to do the second, the 2-hole one. So I'm just, punching the holes. I am like, I watch you guys, all of us, playing with this damn crocodile. And the fact that this little piece of paper doesn't come out of the hole by itself is so annoying because it's a waste of energy. That little twist, that's time, that's energy, that's, working my wrist. So I just wish it was, it would come out, by itself. It's just weird. I feel it weird. I mean, is that something to complain about? I don't know. Okay, so I'm making the templates. I mean, I'm making it for the video. I'm making it for you. I feel like I wanted to give you a full video with a lot of information or a lot of different process, and so I'm making notes because I am going to still keep them because why not? I have them now. So I'm just showing you that this is just regular twine. It doesn't stretch, but it's okay. So inside the 2-hole Midori, you're going to go from the inside, you're going to go out of the top, and instead of going all the way down, you're going to go right next door with your hole. Then you're going to go through the bottom one and keep it straight. You're not going to crisscross it at all. You want to create 2 parallel lines on the interior of your cover. So you'll see that I have now the 2 lines. So here's where you have your dangle options. You can do a tight little knot, right, up towards the center of one of the signatures, or if you want it to be a more of a decorative option, then you tie your knots down in the bottom. So now you're going to see me playing with this paper because even though it's really like 184, it will bow if I tie the string or the elastic too tight. And you do not want that bow. Now, you won't see the bow on a regular cover because it's more rigid, but you don't want the bow because the bow is just adding stress to the original, meaning there's nothing inside there, right? So you have no stretch on the elastic. And as you add your signature, it'll then apply the stretch. You don't want for there to be stretch. At least I don't think it's a good idea. I think that so I'm trying to just make it look right for you right this way. So I'm playing with this because again, I'm working with a piece of paper that bends. But I want it to be right, so you want it to stay flat and you don't want it to be rubbing against the holes and the elastic getting its extra wear and tension. Now, if you'll notice, I have that little, what do you call it? The little string on the bottom. And so I can add dangles there if I wanted to, or I could have shifted that string into the middle of the page and then made a little bow, or just cut it off right there. So here I'm showing you that for this particular Crunch and Munch box, you would need to cut off a little tiny bit, like 1/4 of an inch, in order for an 8.5 by 11 to be able to slide underneath the rope or the elastic, and then it would fall right into where the signature center is. And that's basically what the Midori stitch allows you to do. And I'm not even sure if that's the right word. I know it's Travelers Nova company. I would try to do some Googling before I started to talk here. But anyway, but we're just going to call it that, unless somebody knows what the actual word is. But I think this is what it's called. So then I decided to give you another idea. You have the dangle on the bottom. Let's say you like that. But then you feel that it is off-center, disconnected. Cut another piece of string. You do the elastic, short, because you don't want elastic, because it's a more valuable price-wise item than twine. And then just tie 2 sets of twine on the bottom. And then you can add dangles as you want. But also, if you wanted to, so I'm showing you that, you can put it there and you'll have your dangles on the bottom. Right, if that's how you sewed it in and that was your journal. But if you wanted to, you could just adjust it, and it could have been where the dangles are out on the top, which is another cute little element when you're doing these. But the main thing is that your back will be clear. And I think I'm going to show it to you again, because I know that that's the reason why I'm doing it this way, so that the back is clean. But again, you could do it so that the back is going to have some crisscrossing and things of that nature when it comes to Midori. So now I'm going to do the 3. So very similar. You're going to go out, you're going to go into the center, you're going to go down straight to the center, and then you're going to go to excuse me, you're going to go to the right hand side, yes, and then that's going to be where you're going to go up, right? You're going to poke out again, and you're going to see, I didn't know how much I was going to need. So when you're doing these, I feel like you can leave it on the bowl, right, on the roll, and it's kind of easy to not be as wasteful or have as much waste. Okay, so now it goes up. So now you have 2 signatures, right? And in the back, you're going to see how, again, your outside is clean except for that top. So now you're going to go back into the center, right? Okay. Again, playing with this fluffy guy here. Back into the center. Now, you could come down the center again and complete the whole rotation, but I was like, that would be unnecessary. You could do that and have 4 signatures and 2 are in the center very close. That might be a little too chunky. So what I'm deciding to show you is that once you have that popping out up there, okay, and you have that coming, still trying to play with that flatness down there, you could go through the other side, but I really just want to have this guy brought down and through. So I leave the long one that we just pulled through. I take the other one, bring it down, right? And I'm going to turn it over, and you're going to see that we're going to have 2 little loops on the top and 2 little loops on the bottom. Okay, right? Oops. So we have the 2 little loops, and now I need to finish off that one by entering it into the middle. Okay. Now again, you can tie those 2 together in the center. You'll have a double line in the center. Again, not too much tension. If it's string, then you can do nice, decent tension. It's a lot easier. If it's elastic, you don't want to pull too hard. You want to just make sure that it's there. So now I'm doing that S stitch, the S thing, not on the top. So this is an option, and not on the top. and then you could just snip it off, and then you can do an S stitch, not stitch, what is it? An S knot on the bottom, like that. Go over it, go under it, etc. And then you have a knot in the center on the bottom. So I'm doing a double. Okay, so everything is pretty much flat, right? You've got the 3 signatures on the inside. I'm just doubling it up now that it's flat. And then you have on the back side, which is the outside of the cover, 2 little loops on the top and 2 little loops on the bottom. So these long middle ones, you can, again, just snip them off. If you don't want the little fluttery snips there, I mean, you could wrap it around and on the front, do a little knot. I mean, you got options with what you can do with the excess, right? You could add dangles on the bottom and on the top, you know? So once you get the idea of how to maneuver the strings, if you don't want to have all the excess on the back, then basically it's open for whatever kind of thing you want to try to do. The most important thing is that the interior lines, those strings from top to bottom, need to be parallel. When you're going in and out, go in and out, you can crisscross outside and have the lines, you know, creating a design of some sort, or you can not have anything and do it the way that I've showed you here on this video. Alright, so I thought it was almost done, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to challenge myself because I've never did more than a 3-hole. So I decided that I'm going to see what it's like to do a 5-hole. So I really haven't done this before. So I took the 4. I didn't care that they were not spaced out correctly or evenly, because the idea is that you're talking about having an uneven number of holes. So 3, 5, 7. So this is good when you have longer, taller journals. Maybe you're using a journal that's going to be 11 tall, right? A 3-hole is still possible, but maybe you want it to feel a little more set in place, so you expand that and make 5. So I just added 5 holes. So the 3 holes is where they're at, and then I added the 4th and 5th on the outside. So I'm going to punch the holes for my template so that I could do it. I was going to do that. I could have just punched it. I was going to get the needle. I said, no, it's just about the process. It doesn't matter that I don't have a needle. It's how do I actually do the sewing. So I just punched it with the crocodile. Okay. And I'm just going to freehand. I'm not going to stuff this guy back into the needle. The holes are big enough that I can put it. I took 3 lengths, hoping that I was the same amount that I would need, because you need 3 lengths. I'm just showing you that this is the Just Cotton. It's also from the dollar store. It's called Sage Smar or something like that. And I think it was called cotton yarn. Do not buy the chenille. You can, but if you cut it, you better know how to set it up at the end, because that sucker be fluffing all over the place. It falls apart. So I'm not a yarn person, so I don't know, but I learned my lesson. Anyway, so you go into the center again. On the outside, you're going back in to that hole. Now, normally you would come down, right, and go to the 3rd. Well, with this one, you're going to go up to that extra hole that you have, right, on the inside. And then you're going to come back down from the hole that you just came out of, if that makes sense. So I just came out where my index finger is and my thumb, and I went out. Now I'm out. I'm coming back in where my thumb is. So that creates the loop and the tension to hold the papers up there. And now I do not do the middle. Whoop, I got mail. I skip the middle, like I skip it with a 3-hole pamphlet stitch, and you go in to the bottom, and you're going to again loop around that extra hole. So I go into the bottom here, so like the regular pamphlet stitch, the 3, okay, and sorry, excuse me. So Yeah, it's fluffy, and like, do I want to cut it off or make any sense for me to cut it off? No, because I'm being ridiculous. So there we go. It goes in, right? So normally I would go back up to the middle and bring it out, but I'm not. I'm gonna go and loop around that extra hole like I did on the top. And that's going to be able to secure the pages an additional hole further away from the main focus of the 3-hole pamphlet stitch. Okay, so now that's out, and we're going to loop it back out. Okay, because remember, you're trying to create a line, a continuous looking line, both on the outside and the inside. That's why the inside, outside, etc. is happening. So now I have one more spot to cover, and that's going to take me right back into the center. And again, mind you guys, I haven't done this before. So this is my first time doing it. I'm trying to analyze like what. I know that Treasure Books, Natasha had done an example with a page and everything like that. I don't remember. It was part of another video. I don't think it was his own video. But I want to try to learn these things and to have an understanding. So, you can teach someone. So I learned that there was an option for an additional set of holes, provided odd numbers, but I needed to experience hands-on. So here I just made the bow in the center of the signature. Again, you could do the dangles. You could have started on the outside. Those are your options and those are your choices. So this video, I hope that you have gotten something from it. I hope that it was understandable. If you want to see anything again and want it in a slower version with me talking real time as I'm doing the process, please ask for it in the comments. Context? I'm making up my own words. But anyway, ask me in the oh my god, I can't say it. The comment section. And I will be glad to try to hook that up. So if you haven't seen it and you know that I'm a small channel, I've done a hop video. I've challenged other small crafty creators with small channels to participate. And this is my visual, so this is normal, but when I'm up here, I gotta loop around. That's my visual representation. Anyway, so I have that going on. You are more than welcome to, if you are a smaller channel that crafts, join in the fun. If I didn't know you so I didn't tag you, go to my Ko-fi, get the information, tag me when you make a video, and we'll have some fun. And until next time, ciao, ciao, bye.